Oh hey, you found me. Welcome to Wild Code Ranger. I'm your Wild Code Ranger, Scott. Today we are trekking through Hello World Trail. Here is today's gear list and our waypoints along this trek. Alright, let's go. First we need to create a source member in the source file QRPGLE source. We will just call it hello.rpgle. Once the member is created, we open it to type in our 3 lines of code that will be our first program. ** free tells the compiler that we are using the modern all-free RPGLE syntax. Then we use the display operation code to display our text, "Hello Woods," because that is our world, right? Then to return to the caller, we use the return opcode. And just like that, we have our first program source. We must save and then compile the source to create our first program object. To test our first program, we can start a 5250 terminal session in VS Code. Once we log in, and get to the command line, we call our program. Here we will see the output, just as we expected. Now that we have a working program, you can make edits like changing Hello Woods to Hello Woodsy Friends. Remember to save and compile, and then when you run the program again, it will show the changes. Sometimes the display opcode flashes so quickly you don't get to see it, but you can go to the job log and see it there. Now let's move on to the next waypoint. Using a variable, we name it names and define it as varchar20. Then initialize the value as woodlands. We then modify the display opcode to use the variable value. Remember to save and compile, and then when you run the program again, it will show the changes. Sometimes the display opcode flashes so quickly you don't get to see it, but you can go to the job log and see it there. Once again, you can modify what you have created to woodlands and all. Save and recompile. And then call the program for the modified results. Now we move on to the next waypoint using prompt input. This is an option of the opcode display that we have been using. This allows us for prompt of an input variable, and then we use that in our output statement. Remember to save and compile. Now this time when we call the program, it will prompt you for input. You can put in any name, even Swampy. And when the program completes, you check the job log and see it updated with the input value. Now we have come to the waypoint of using an input parameter. Here we will not even have to prompt for an input. We just pass it on the command line into the program. First, we declare a procedure interface for passing in the name value. Then we again output using the display opcode, but using the value of the input parameter. As always, we save and compile. And this time, when we call the program, we can prompt the call command to make sure we add the name value to the command. Finally, you are able to see that the passed-in value was added to the hello output. That is a great start to this adventure. I hope you learned and was able to progress through the steps.